It began with a murmur that nobody anticipated. Following their covert late-night meeting, Erica Mena subtly revealed that she was expecting the Mendeecees kid. Rumors that Mendeecees, the loving husband and father, had been leading a secret. Life put fans in shock, and now a DNA test is purportedly validating all of their darkest fears. With the caption, "He's the father, proof is on the way," screenshots of Erica's heartfelt confession went viral on social media. Yandy's world, meanwhile, fell apart in real time. Her voice shaking as she faced Mendeecees, sources claim she stormed off set, smashing doors and demanding answers. "How could you betray our family like this?" As accusations flew and emotions ran high, close friends watched in startled silence. The family was split. Some supported Yandy's rage, while others thought it was all part of a larger media stunt. According to insiders, Yandy has already filed for divorce as the DNA findings get closer to being made public. Her anguish is reportedly fueling a public battle that promises further shocking turns. The setting is set for a confrontation that might redefine reality TV drama, with trust destroyed and loyalty in ruins. Keep an eye out because everyone's secrets are at stake in this controversy, and nobody is innocent. Exhausted after a night of racing thoughts, Yandy woke up before dawn, but sleep would not come. The distant chirp of early birds and the gentle hum of the refrigerator were unable to calm the storm inside her chest. In order to avoid waking her kids, she got up silently and went to the kitchen. The message, which was clean and familiar, taunted her with its brevity as it lay unopened on the counter. "I'm so sorry. I will describe everything." Monday, she crumpled it into a tight ball and tossed it in the trash after staring at it for a while with a troubled heart. No more waiting would be necessary. It was time to take action. After putting together a small overnight bag and making plans for her kids to stay with a reliable friend, Yandy took out her phone and looked through the Proof for Divorce folder. Voice notes, screenshots, timestamps of late-night messages, and private photos. Each piece of evidence was a reminder of betrayal and a knife twist. Erica's shaking voice, expressing disappointment and wanting to know why the Mendeecees had concealed their relationship, was the voice note she hit play on. Then, as she understood she finally had the keys to her own future, a wave of relief and shame passed over her. She called the number of her attorney. The composed response was, "Good morning, Yandy." "I was anticipating your call," she said, nodding curtly at the empty room. "I'm ready to file." The attorney guided her through the last procedures, which included notarizing a few documents, confirming the dates on the messages, and completing the petition grounds, which included emotional mistreatment, fraudulent concealment, and spousal obligation desertion. By noon, the draft divorce petition would be prepared. Immediately, Yandy gave his approval. She moved forward with a sad satisfaction. She then sent her social media manager a text. "I must have a press release by today. State that I'm looking for the truth and legal defense for my family." Within minutes, the manager responded, attaching the draft. "Keep it firm." The words "Yandy filed divorce petition against Mendeecees" caught her attention. Following startling disclosures, she demands privacy and legal action. She hit submit, saying she is still dedicated to her children's welfare. There was no going back. Her steps were deliberate but purposeful as she made her way to the legal office later that morning. With empathetic eyes, the receptionist welcomed her. Yandy handed over a slick packet and stated, "I have the documents." She signed the last page, feeling both relieved and afraid. "Please file immediately." Fear of what lay ahead, custody, disputes, public attention, and the heartbreaking court actions that would ensue. And relief that she was taking back control. Early in the afternoon, the formal filing was finished. With a steady hand, the courthouse clerk stamped the petition as filed. After observing the ink's drying process, Yandy placed the papers in her bag. Reporters were waiting for her to leave the building when she did. The flash of cameras felt like a hail of condemnations, but she stood her ground and left with her head held high after pausing in front of them, taking a calming breath and saying calmly, "I deserve the truth, and I will protect my family at all costs." Word of the controversy spread online while Yandy negotiated the court system. Fans analyzed each leaked message, discussed Erica's intentions, and made predictions about Mendeecees' next move. The hashtag #TeamYandy trended alongside Mendeecees' betrayal, and gossip blogs included headlines like "Yandy files divorce after baby bombshell" and "Mendeecees' double life exposed." Reaction videos erupted, with some blaming Yandy of staging. a show, and others expressing sympathy. But she never lost sight of what was really important: her kids. That night, she went back to the peace and quiet of her makeshift haven, a comfortable guest room at her friend's house. Messages from worried family members buzzed through her phone. She thanked him and promised more information shortly. She managed a soft smile when her kids came home from school, their eyes big and their features bewildered. Although her own voice faltered, she reassured them that everything is going to be okay. Their faith in her was a lifeline for the time being. Later, while enjoying pizza at the kitchen table, Yandy's mind wandered to more pleasant memories. Late-night coffee chats in the kitchen, weekend picnics with the kids, and date nights beneath the stars. Now, those bright recollections felt soiled by dishonesty. While silently lamenting the future she believed she had, she put her palm to her heart. She muttered, more to herself than to them, "We will be fine." Wendy sat by herself in the living room, scrolling through Mendeecees' social media posts after putting her kids to bed. All of the happy family pictures and inspirational quotes about love and loyalty suddenly seemed to be staged scenes from a play he had created without her. She checked the comments and saw encouraging remarks from followers. On her behalf, some people sent prayers and others voiced their outrage. Although she valued their unity, she was aware that the actual fight would take place in the courts, where persuasive proof would be more important than sympathy. She eventually fell asleep in the wee hours of the morning, but her dreams were plagued by visions of Erica's tear-streaked face and the sound of Yandy's own breaking sob. She woke up the following morning with a mission. The moment had come to delve farther. When she accessed the evidence folder, she discovered a voice note that she had nearly missed. A quick exchange between Erica and an unidentified acquaintance in which Erica acknowledged that she was conflicted, half afraid of the consequences, and half in love with Mendeecees. Her final words in the video, "I just want him to own up," could strengthen Yandy's case by demonstrating that Erica's accusations were sincere requests for responsibility rather than lies. Mendeecees, meantime, had stopped talking. No public remarks, no social media posts. Rumors circulated that he was seeking advice from crisis managers, saying sorry in private, or keeping quiet to allow the narrative to fade. Yandy pondered if he would defend himself in court by alleging false accusation. Later that day, while looking for Erica, Yandy walked inside the tiny cafe. With her fingers encircling a latte cup, the other woman sat by herself at a corner table. Erica was anxious, with pale hues and regretful shadows in her eyes. Keeping her face neutral, Yandy moved onto the seat across from her. In a low voice, Yandy remarked, "Thank you for meeting." With her voice barely above a whisper, Erica nodded. She started, "I never wanted to hurt you. I couldn't keep my mouth shut, even though I loved him. I was afraid of what he would do if I said nothing." Erica's face was examined by Yandy. Conflicting feelings of dread, grief, and honesty flashed across her face. "Why did you wait so long?" Yandy inquired quietly. "Why not tell the world instead of me?" Tears welled up in Erica's eyes. "I made an effort to speak with him initially. He pledged to put an end to it and make things right. However, he continued to lie." There was a long hush as they both took in what she had to say. "I believed that public exposure was the only way to force him to choose." The discussion was honest, difficult, and unvarnished. Although their conversation concluded without a conclusion, Yandy departed knowing more about Erica's intentions. This detail, evidence of a conversation in which the Mendeecees were cautioned and given opportunities to come clean, might be helpful in court. That realization was filed away in her legal strategy folder. A steely resolve solidified inside of Yandy as she returned to the sunlight. She would not only pursue a just divorce settlement, but also make sure her kids never had to doubt their value or their mother's love. As the first chapter of this story comes to an end, Yandy finds himself on the verge of legal battle and personal introspection. Competing filings, custody hearings, and a fight for public opinion are all anticipated in the upcoming chapters. However, for the time being, she inhales deeply, prepared to face whatever comes next with bravery and clarity. The storm changed course the morning after Yandy's encounter with Erica. Erica released a fresh round of disclosures on social media, while Yandy strengthened her legal defense. Erica shared a number of private voice notes and screenshots at dawn, this time emphasizing the promises made to her by Mendeecees. In one recording, she trembled as she murmured, "He promised to leave, Yandy, when I was ready." Alongside the audio, Erica posted a picture of a reservation confirmation for a fancy restaurant with Mendeecees' name and phone number, their secret anniversary dinner. He said he loved me too, but he was afraid of the fallout. Within an hour, gossip pages were ablaze with the hashtags Erica exposes and you Mendeecees lied. Back at her little haven, she silently observed the fallout. Her phone kept getting pings from her social media manager. The management stated, Mendeecees net worth trending as keyword. Yandy read the statement and saw that my accounts were compromised. He just released a statement blaming hacked accounts. I've never cheated on my wife. She let out a deep breath as she realized Mendeecees was shifting from denial to deflection. Below, comments ridiculed the argument, saying things like, "Get with a real crisis manager? Nice try, but we've heard enough." She sent her lawyer the statement. She typed, "We can expect a countersuit. Be ready for accusations of defamation." Fan devotion became a familiar topic of discussion while the legal teams were getting ready. She deserves better. Protect the children, and Mendeecees had 10 years to come clean, were the rallying cries of Team Yandy on Twitter. Meanwhile, a smaller but vociferous group called I'm Team Mendeecees accused Yandy of staging a PR stunt. To get sympathy, one commentator mockingly said, "Divorce drama equals ratings." Despite the confusion, Yandy kept his attention on the evidence. She no longer wanted the commotion, so she told her boss to turn off comments on her own posts. She put her children's innocence before the approbation of the internet. Mendeecees' team retaliated that afternoon with crisis interviews, a different tactic. 3 daytime talk shows were scheduled by professional PR consultants. A grinning Mendeecees made his point in each. "It was all a misunderstanding," he said in a pre-recorded sit-down, attributing the leaked text to an outdated backup chat. He lamented and pleaded for Yandy's pardon on another broadcast. These were presented by the media as sincere regrets. Yandy's stomach roiled as she watched the excerpts. Although he appeared remorseful, fear was also there in his eyes. Was he more afraid of losing his reputation and his negocio endeavors than he was of feeling sorry for his family? Late that night, a reliable source within Mendeecees' inner circle called, and Yandy's phone buzzed. Bank transactions, payments from Mendeecees' corporate accounts to Erica's personal one were cited as more evidence. The source texted, "He established a secret trust. Document transfers, allowances each month." Yandy's heart pounded. "You should check your bank statements." Her case might be sealed by this fresh financial proof. She gave her lawyer instructions to promptly demand Mendeecees' financial records. Erica's role, however, took a surprising turn. In a second, more tearful but less accusing video, she said, "I wish things were different," while wiping away her tears. "I never intended to ruin a family. I cherished him. I only wanted him to be truthful." The audience felt vulnerable. Some fans debated whether Erica was a villain or collateral damage, moving from mockery to sympathy. Clickbait titles were fueled by subtleties. Is Erica the true victim? Did Yandy push him out? The narrative briefly broke down with public opinions splitting into opposing factions. In private, Yandy struggled with mixed feelings. That evening, when Monica came over, she discovered Yandy sitting by himself in the dimly lit living room. There was quiet between them. A cup of chamomile tea was delicately put in Monica's hand. "How are things going with you?" Softly, she inquired. Yandy stirred absently as she gazed into her mug. She acknowledged, "I feel like I'm losing bits of my past. There is now an asterisk next to every memory of us. Did I ever truly own him?" Monica caught her shoulders with her arm. She said, "You're not losing yourself. You're taking back your identity." Legally, Yandy remained in control despite the emotional toll. Her lawyer had submitted a motion to freeze the Mendeecees' joint assets until further investigation by the end of the week. The date of the court was set. Her attorney advised her via email to get your testimony ready, concentrate on dates and supporting documentation. In order to prevent conjecture, Yandy carefully wrote down her notes, including dates of the suspected affair, children's birthdays, and wedding images with timestamps. In front of a mirror, she practiced her opening line. "I had complete faith in him. He lied to me, according to the evidence." The children witnessed tension in minor ways as the court preparations progressed. The daughter of Yandy inquired as to why her father was not picking her up for ballet class. Her kid questioned why it seemed like their house was constantly quieter these days. Yandy balanced honesty and protection while sorting through her maternal inclinations. She gently informed them, "Daddy is busy right now solving grown-up problems." Late at night, she kissed their foreheads and gazed at their serene features, bracing herself for the fight ahead. "We'll still have fun weekends, I promise." Reaction videos started analyzing Yandy's every public activity on social media. Million follower. Influencers graded her authenticity by posting analysis on her press conference. While some commended her poise, others called her aloof. Yandy declined to participate. She observed from a distance, reminding herself that the background noise included opinions from the internet. Her actual battle took place in court, not on social media. Then came the unexpected turn of events. Mendeecees' attorney filed a motion of his own, claiming that the disclosure of private communications by Yandy amounted to defamation and violation of confidentiality. Suddenly, the day of the hearing finally came. Yandy wore modest clothing, no cosmetics, and no jewelry. Flashbulbs popped at the steps of the courthouse. She gripped her folder and walked carefully into the building. She appeared in front of a crowded gallery in courtroom 4B, which included the judge's stern bench, walk-in fans, reporters, and TV crews. With a controlled yet nervous expression, Mendeecees sat at the defensive table. Sandy's attorney and legal assistant sat by the plaintiff's side, prepared with binders full of supporting documentation. The judge described the motions on the docket, which included the defendant's motion for defamation sanctions and the plaintiff's motion to freeze assets after the bailiff called the case. The lawyer for Yandy started. "Your Honor, our evidence, which includes money transfers to Erica, covert conversations, and photographic documentation of intimate interactions, unequivocally demonstrates a pattern of dishonesty by Mendeecees." Yandy observed Mendeecees' response while the lawyer spoke, a tense jaw and anxious looks at his counsel. "We request relief to prevent further misuse of joint assets." He appeared weak, even deferential. Mendeecees' attorney brought up the slander issue when it was his turn. "Your Honor, the plaintiff's extensive public disclosures have irreparably damaged Mr. Frost's reputation, even while we do not contest the couple's personal quarrel." The lawyer's remarks reverberated throughout the quiet courtroom. "We request that the court approve these disclosures." Despite the knot in her gut, Yandy told herself that this was a necessary part of the cost of pursuing the truth. The judge postponed making a decision after hours of deliberation. He declared, "I will make a written decision." Photographers crowded the exits as the court adjourned with the statement that both parties should prepare for discovery depositions. Knowing that the adventure was far from finished, Yandy came out, took a big breath, and softly repeated her mantra, "Truth and protection." Every move in court was a step toward closure, but beyond the headlines and legal bickering lay personal. Healing, Mendeecees trailed her outside. She hesitated, then turned as he whispered, "Yandy, wait." He extended a folded piece of paper. He said, "Read this." "I wrote it last night." Despite her lawyer's warning, she came forward. As she read it, the paper shuddered in her hands. A sincere apology, an acknowledgement of guilt, and a request for forgiveness. She saw the handwriting was wobbly beneath the signature, M. Her eyes filled with tears, but she composed herself. With a hushed voice, she said, "I'll see you in court." Then, without turning around, she left. The public lawsuit looms, the personal repercussions worsen, and every secret gets closer to the light as Part 2 comes to a close. Watch this space for Part 3, where the courtroom drama heats up, alliances change again, and the pursuit of truth is put to the ultimate test. The messy coffee table was covered in striped shadows as the morning sun came through the blinds of Yandy's makeshift residence. Court envelopes, each containing a motion reply or a fresh discovery request, were strewn about. She reviewed the judge's preliminary decision while perched on the edge of the sofa. Assets freeze approved, defamation penalties rejected. For the time being, even if it was a minor win, it was nevertheless a victory. She let out a breath, bracing herself for the next task of the day, her deposition. Midway through the morning, Yandy arrived at the law offices, passing beneath stern marble columns that sounded solemn, with her lawyer on one side, opposing counsel on the other, and a court reporter standing by with a stenotype machine. The conference room was arranged like a battlefield. She smoothed the front of her plain blouse as she sat down in the chair. Her head was clear, but her hands felt clammy. She told herself that each question was a chance to support her story with data, dates, and proof. The deposition started. The sharp-eyed, silver-haired defense lawyer asked Yandy to provide her full name, marital date, and number of children. Calmly, she replied. The incisive inquiries then arose. When did you initially detect the affair? Why did you decide to save those voice notes? Did you ever speak out against Mendeecees in private before doing so publicly? Every question was intended to draw attention to any lag or irregularity in her behavior. I became suspicious on April 12 when I discovered the voice note Erica sent at 2:37 a.m. Yandy paused before responding to make sure her answers were accurate. She described how she went over previous messages, talked about her attempts at private conversations, and emphasized her commitment to confidentiality until the evidence became overwhelming. The defense lawyer fought for the deadline, suggesting that it was too soon for Yandy to make public remarks. With the use of notarized voice note transcripts, dated screenshots of text chains, and a wedding album timestamped April 10, 2015, which showed their 10 years of dating, Yandy refuted the claim. The realization that her paperwork was flawless gave her a boost of confidence. As she talked about the midnight texts, the restaurant reservation made using Mendeecees' name and Erica's number, and her own legal consultations, the room appeared to lean in. Even though the lawyer's pen was flying over his notebook, his look was one of frustration. They then discussed money issues. A printout of bank statements was waived by the lawyer. Ms., how would you describe the $10,000 wire payment to Ms. Mina on February 20th, Frost? The transaction was acknowledged by Yandy, Mendeecees' monthly allowance to Erica. That transfer was made without my knowledge or consent, she said steadily. Financial concealment occurs when shared money are used for a covert trust with another woman. She explained how she found the trust account through her source, how the monthly payments matched the rent for Erica's apartment, and how she brought this information to her legal team right once. As she finished speaking, there was silence. Following 2 hours of inquiries and explanations, the defense lawyer appeared to lose interest. Wendy's consistent, corroborated testimony and reliable presentation of documentary evidence were later noted in the judge's written ruling. After the deposition was over, she gathered her belongings, but not before turning to face Mendeecees' attorney. There, she noticed a glimmer of respect, which strengthened her resolve. As the court reporters shut down her notepad, Yandy crept out into the hallway, anticipating what would happen next. A group of reporters with cameras and microphones stood outside, waiting. One yelled, "Ms., how is it to testify against your ex-husband, Frost?" "Now that you have secured the asset freeze," someone else inquired, "would you drop the divorce?" With courteous succinctness, Yandy sliced through them. "I'm focused on my children and the truth. Everything else will follow." She strode to her car, the press huddle behind her dissipating like a storm. Erica Mina, meanwhile, had to confront her own reality. The public's attitude changed from sympathy to suspicion after seeing Erica's heartfelt video post. Gossip websites investigated Erica's previous romances, uncovering tales of short-lived liaisons and financial difficulties. With red-rimmed yet resolute eyes, Erica answered with a live Instagram session. She begged for privacy and respect, insisting that her intentions were good. She declared, "I never set out to break a family." Some supporters applauded her for being vulnerable, while others chastised her for using emotion as a weapon. "I only wanted him to be honest." For a short time, the hashtag #Justice for Erica was popular before fading. In an attempt to make her involvement clear, Erica contacted Yandy via a middleman and suggested a mediated solution. To stop the media hysteria, she proposed a joint statement in which Erica would declare the affair, Yandy would affirm the custody and support arrangements, and both would exhort fans to respect the privacy of the children. After giving it some thought, Yandy's legal team decided against it. They cautioned that any unified statement might weaken Yandy's responsibility claims and advised against cooperation. However, at home, Yandy balanced her responsibilities as a mother and court preparation. Her kids started asking more direct questions, including, "Why is Daddy on the news?" And "Are we ever going to return home?" Every question pierced her with resolve and guilt. She gave them a straightforward explanation. "Adults make mistakes sometimes." She nestled them in with bedtime stories, whispering dreams of better days every night. "We're making sure everyone tells the truth, and I'm doing it to keep us safe." For her social media manager to share, she produced brief video messages that included love for her children, appreciation for her followers, and subliminal cautions to anyone who would break her trust. Thousands of people commented on the films, with some complimenting her poise and others raising doubts about her intentions. However, Yandy declined to interact with the doubters. Instead, she concentrated on courthouse seat 4B rather than the comment area. Mendeecees and Erica faced discovery depositions as the second week of the trial cycle got underway. Erica was given prepared questions by Yandy's legal team, including, "Did you ever get paid by Mr. Frost? Did you think about what it might mean for his family?" Erica's admission might support Yandy's case by demonstrating complicity. They created cross-examination questions for the Mendeecees at the same time, such as, "Why didn't you tell your wife when payments started? Have you ever thought of ending your marriage? Were your apologies sincere or premeditated?" The purpose of the pointed questioning was to coerce him into disclosing a motivation. Amidst these preparations, an unexpected turn of events occurred when Imani, the eldest daughter of the Mendeecees, posted a mysterious dance video to TikTok that was accompanied by a moving audio clip. The recording was instantly recognized by fans as one of Yandy's voice notes. "We deserve more than half-truths." Conjecture arose about whether Imani was supporting her mother or if hackers were involved. Erica Dixon, Imani's mother, and the mother of his other daughter, made a strong statement condemning the exploitation of children. Despite screen captures circulating in private discussions, the video was taken down due to privacy concerns. In order to shield the kids from additional exposure, Wendy's lawyer filed a motion after identifying the occurrence as an unlawful disclosure of private correspondence. Throughout it all, Yandy looked for quiet moments in an attempt to stop. Her mind from racing, she started doing yoga every day with a small group of friends. She wrote in her journal at night, expressing feelings she was unable to express out loud. She found a resilience she was unaware she possessed through her emotions. Over coffee each morning, she went over all of the exhibits and margin notes in the court files. Her perseverance was praised by her legal team. One paralegal even said, "You're a force of nature." The media environment changed once more on the eve of Erica's deposition. Mendeecees and a business associate discussed a plan to minimize collateral damage in unredacted chat logs that surfaced as a new leak. The leak disclosed intentions to hold a temporary apology tour before discreetly negotiating a secret settlement. The trickery made the fans shudder. Seizing the opportunity, Yandy's camp moved to acknowledge the logs as proof of deceit and premeditation. The following hearing was eagerly awaited in the courtroom. The tension in Part 3 is tremendous as it comes to a close. Legal motions mount, depositions are pending, and every public statement reverberates like thunder throughout the story. With her argument supported by steadfast evidence and intense determination, Yandy stands poised. However, the road ahead is perilous. The threat of public opinion, judicial drama, and personal crossfire loom large. Keep an eye out for Chapter 4. Where the courthouse doors open, alliances are put to the test, and the pursuit of truth takes a new turn. There was a great silence on the morning of Erica's deposition. Entering the same sterile conference room where her own deposition had occurred, Yandy braced herself. With bloodshot but determined gaze, Erica sat opposite her. The defense lawyer cleared his throat as the court reporter clicked. "Ms. Mina, could you kindly explain for the record why you made these accusations against Mr. Frost?" "Because I thought it was the only way to make him be honest," Erica said, her voice shaking. "I merely wanted the truth. I had no intention of hurting his family." Her motivations were questioned, including, "Did you look for monetary compensation? What conversations with Yandy did you have prior to sharing screenshots?" Every question sought to paint Erica as cunning. However, Ms. Mina responded earnestly, relating stories of late-night talks with Mendeecees in which he made commitments but then abruptly broke them. She spoke of nervous visits to her own physician, which was a sign of emotional distress. Yandy watched from the sidelines while she talked, heartbroken yet appreciative of Erica's openness. Every detail that Erica offered supported Yandy's argument, a pattern of strategic silences, hushed apologies, and broken pledges. After 2 hours, Erica's last words, "I wish I had handled it differently," came with a sigh. "I apologize for the suffering this has caused, but I stand by my argument that he misled me." She looked directly at Yandy, tears pooling. The court reporter paused to observe the emotional impact, and Erica gave one more nod before leaving the room. "I never wanted this to become a public spectacle." Knowing that this deposition would support her claims of betrayal and concealment, Yandy let out a sigh. Social media surged once more as word of Erica's testimony spread, with gossip sites hailing it as the moment truth broke free. However, this time, the momentum turned more decisively in favor of Yandy's story. In response to remarks like, "Credit to Eric for speaking up," and "This is the end for Mendeecees," Yandy refused to log on to verify, preferring to concentrate on the tangible facts in her hands rather than the chatter on the internet. Meanwhile, the deposition of Mendeecees was imminent. His fitted suit hung loosely about his shoulders when he arrived at the law office looking exhausted. As he took his seat across from Yandy's lawyer, the atmosphere was tense as the front pages of tabloids plastered his face with titles like "Confession Pending" and "Love Triangle Scandal Intensifies." The questions started once the court reporter gave the signal. Mr. Mendeecees cleared his throat and said in a hushed voice, "I accept that I had inappropriate interactions with Ms. Mina, but I never meant to leave my marriage. Frost, admit that you engaged in an intimate connection with Erica Mina." The lawyer pressed, "So you admit to an affair?" He paused before responding, "Yes." The room resonated with a unified gasp. The financial questions followed. Mendeecees' eyes fell when he said, "Explain the wire transfers to Ms. Mina's account." He claimed that they were personal gifts, not trust payments. The lawyer displayed bank statements that showed equal monthly transfers. Those numbers correspond to utility bills, grocery bills, and rent payments. "You say these were presents from you?" Mendeecees took a deep breath. "I believed that providing was a component of caring," he said. His voice broke. "I didn't realize how it looked." A sense of revelation filled the room. Every admission eroded his defense. The leaked chat records were then presented by Yandy's lawyer. "Mr. Frost, did you mean to deceive your wife and the public by discussing intentions to minimize collateral damage in this message?" Mendeecees' face went white. "I was in a panic," he muttered. The lawyer leaned forward and said, "I didn't know how to handle the fallout." Panic does not excuse dishonesty. It seemed as though the walls themselves took in the seriousness of his admission. You had a choice to come clean or continue lying. Mendeecees stood up to depart after spending hours in the hot seat. "One final question. Do you regret the decisions you made?" his lawyer called. Silence for a minute. Then, with his shoulders slumping, he nodded. "I regret keeping every secret and breaking every promise." Yandy waited outside. She briefly drew his attention because of their shared past, but he turned his head away, remorse visible on every crease of his face. She gave him a brief nod before avoiding eye contact once more. The court documents accumulated in the days that followed. The judge tentatively discussed settlement negotiations and scheduled arguments on the motions of both sides. In order to speed up custody and support agreements, Wendy's legal team suggested mediation. However, Mendeecees' attorney objected, stating that the defamation claims should be first. The deadlock hinted at more intense courtroom disputes to come. Life outside the courthouse continued in the midst of the legal play. Every morning, Yandy's kids went to school and came home to a less personal household than they had before. She turned one bedroom into a playroom where kids could make crafts and laugh, a haven away from the stress of adulthood. To give them a taste of normalcy, she organized movie evenings and enrolled them in weekend painting lessons. During the peaceful evenings, she kept a journal telling herself that these moments matter the most. Her social media manager put out a continuous stream of updates, clipped highlights of Erica's apologies, screenshots of Mendeecees' admissions, and tailored comments of support. Transparency and dignity were balanced in the campaign. There were no sensationalist edits, only indisputable facts. When a fan commented, "Thank you for showing strength and grace," in a private message, Yandy responded with a simple love emoji, understanding that real connection provided more comfort than unnamed compliments. A leaked footage from an off-camera rehearsal presented an unexpected twist just as Yandy was starting to feel somewhat in control. Mendeecees had said to a producer, behind the scenes during a recent picture shoot, "If it weren't for her stubbornness, none of this would be public." The video showed him pacing backstage, his irritation and rage erupting. This disclosure fueled stories of vindictiveness by portraying him as spiteful rather than repentant. Mendeecees disputed the video's veracity, but Yandy's lawyer attempted to get it admitted as proof of his hostility. The stage was set for another tumultuous session when the judge ordered an admissibility hearing. The courtroom gets ready for yet another round of opposing motions as Part 4 draws to a close. Leaked tapes and depositions have destroyed illusions and revealed ulterior agendas. Yandy remains steadfast, a silent fighter strengthened by the truth and the assurance that justice will be served for her family. Behind her, Mendeecees' defenses fall apart like a house of cards as Erica's role changes once more, going from accuser to reluctant ally. Crucial decisions, custody disputes, and possibly a definitive breakup or a peak of reunion will all be included in the upcoming chapter. Watch for Part 5, when secrets are revealed, destinies are determined, and Yandy's struggle for closure comes to a dramatic conclusion. The last hearing came quietly and intensely, as the judge granted her interim custody and mandated supervised visits for the Mendeecees. Yandy remained calm. The assets freeze persisted, guaranteeing her kids' financial stability. Mendeecees acknowledged on paper that he had acted dishonestly, and the court cautioned both parties to put their children's welfare first. A wave of relief mixed with grief for what had been lost washed over Yandy as the gavel dropped. She gathered her kids beside the courthouse and assured them of love and stability. Mendeecees apologized briefly and promised to use treatment and persistent work to regain trust. In her final apologetic video, Erica Mena urged healing and respect for personal space. Despite the hype in the media, Yandy focused on her household. One moment at a time, she restored normalcy by re-establishing routines, such as weekend mornings at the park, homework afternoons, and bedtime readings. She instilled in her kids the value of truth and resiliency via simple deeds of kindness. This chapter comes to an end. The road ahead involves finding joy again, establishing boundaries, and healing. Their future was changed by Yandy's unshakable dedication to her family, demonstrating that even the most severe injuries may give rise to fresh resilience. If you support speaking the truth and defending family, please like this video, subscribe for more updates on real-life dramas, and leave a comment below. Do you think that treachery can ever completely rebuild trust? Your voice counts.